Alex Eala takes center stage at the BNP Paribas Tennis Paradise in Indian Wells. And of course, Filipino fans turn out in full force to cheer her on.
Of course, I'm very grateful for all the support that's been coming my way. And it's really heartwarming to see that they really, they make the effort and they take the time to come out and to support, and it makes the experience for the player totally different.
In an almost unbelievable twist that sent shockwaves through the tennis world, Alex Eala shattered expectations with her very first appearance at the Indian Wells Open, creating a level of demand few could have predicted. Ticket prices exploded as fans rushed to witness her debut, and the result was staggering. Nearly $5 million in ticket sales generated from a single match. For a young Filipino star stepping onto one of tennis's grandest stages, it wasn't just impressive, it felt historic. Her matchup against Dayana Yastremska suddenly became the hottest ticket in the entire tournament, with prices reaching heights rarely seen for an opening round clash. Fans overwhelmed the ticketing platforms, flooding the website so heavily that the system struggled to keep up as thousands tried to secure a seat. In recent months, the buzz around Eala had been building quietly, but what unfolded at Indian Wells transformed that excitement into something explosive. From the moment the match was announced, the anticipation among tennis fans across the United States and beyond started to feel electric. And once tickets went live, it became obvious this wasn't just another early round contest. It was a moment everyone suddenly wanted to be part of. Prices surged as fans from around the world scrambled for a chance to witness what was shaping up to be one of the biggest spectacles the tournament had ever seen. Even though it was only the first round, the Indian Wells Tennis Garden, long known as one of the sport's most prestigious venues, felt permanently changed that day. Generating $5 million from one match alone is something rarely seen in tennis, but Eala's growing magnetism made it possible. It wasn't only Filipino supporters filling the seats either. It felt like the entire global tennis community had descended on the desert with one goal: to watch her play, no matter the cost. The atmosphere was electric, the noise constant, the anticipation almost impossible to ignore. Even tournament organizers were caught off guard by the overwhelming demand, scrambling to manage crowds that far exceeded expectations. And insiders quickly realized this might not be a one-time surge, but the beginning of something bigger, what many analysts are already calling the Eala effect, a phenomenon reshaping attention around women's tennis. The numbers speak loudly. $5 million from one match instantly etched her debut into tournament history. Yet the story goes far beyond revenue. It signals a shift in the energy surrounding the sport, as Eala rapidly becomes one of its most talked about rising forces. Her popularity has accelerated far faster than most expected, and suddenly the tennis world is paying very close attention. Fans have been showing up everywhere she competes, from the Australian Open to tournaments in Miami and Dubai. And now Indian Wells has joined that list of captivated stages. What's happening isn't just buzz. It feels like a movement. People who once had little interest in attending tennis matches now rush to buy tickets the moment they see her name on the draw. Even top players have noticed. Jessica Pegula recently described the atmosphere when facing Eala at the Miami Open, admitting she expected a typical match, but walked into something completely different. The crowd energy was overwhelming, the noise constant, and the support for Eala unlike anything she had experienced before. Pegula called it insane, explaining that no matter where Eala appears, from the Australian Open to Miami or the Dubai Tennis Championships, fans arrive in huge numbers not just to watch, but to live every point alongside her.
They all come out to support her, and so I think we saw that in Australia when it was kind of overcrowded. They put her on too small of a court. We saw it here. You can hear it from the hotel. You can hear the crowd roaring, especially at night. So it's incredible.
Alex Eala has begun drawing crowds in a way that feels almost impossible to ignore, and the connection she's building with fans is quickly becoming one of the most powerful forces in the sport. Her popularity seems to grow with every tournament, and it's becoming clear that something unusual is happening around her rise. Fans aren't just casually attending her matches. They're going out of their way to be part of the experience. Long lines outside stadium gates, hours spent refreshing ticket pages, and people waiting outside arenas simply to absorb the energy of the moment have all become common scenes whenever she plays. That kind of devotion is rare in tennis, and reveals just how strongly she's resonating with audiences across the world. But it isn't only the fans who are noticing this surge of excitement. The biggest names in the sport are watching closely as well. Novak Djokovic, widely regarded as one of the greatest players in tennis history, recently voiced strong support for Eala, praising her rise and calling her the greatest tennis player the Philippines has ever produced. When Djokovic speaks, the tennis world pays attention, and his endorsement carries enormous weight throughout the sport. His recognition of both her talent and the incredible crowds she's drawing only reinforces a growing belief that Eala is quickly becoming one of the most electrifying and marketable stars on the tour today.
Alexandra Eala, that's been a talk, and which is understandable. There's some players coming from respective countries, like she's coming from Philippines, which is now a big deal. She's been the biggest ever, tennis player from that country, which is a big country, and there's a big interest.
That feeling of witnessing something truly special is exactly the kind of hold Alex Eala seems to have over her fans. As the Indian Wells Open continues to unfold in 2026, it's becoming increasingly obvious that her popularity is only beginning to rise. The incredible $5 million generated in ticket sales for her very first match already feels like a glimpse into a much bigger future. With every tournament she enters, Eala is steadily transforming from a promising competitor into a global figure whose influence stretches far beyond the tennis court. The level of support she's receiving is extraordinary, and the tennis world is now being forced to acknowledge just how powerful her presence has become. The soaring ticket prices and the unprecedented revenue tied to her debut at Indian Wells show exactly how much demand surrounds this young star. Her popularity continues to surge, and the appetite to watch her compete seems to grow with every appearance. Eala is no longer just another rising name in women's tennis. She's becoming a genuine phenomenon within the sport. As fans, analysts, and fellow players watch her ascent with amazement, one thing feels increasingly certain. Alex Eala isn't a temporary sensation. Her impact on tennis is already undeniable, and the milestone she keeps reaching may only represent the beginning of what could become a long and remarkable career. Across the tennis world, the conversation is growing louder that Eala might represent the future of the sport. But what do you think about her incredible rise? Have you ever seen a tennis player create this much excitement and demand so quickly? Do the sky-high ticket prices seem worth it for the chance to witness a potentially historic moment? Are you surprised by the level of support she's attracting not only from Filipino fans, but from tennis followers around the globe? With the massive crowd she's drawing, could Eala eventually become the face of women's tennis? Or do you believe another player might take that spotlight? And what's your perspective on the so-called Eala effect and the way it's beginning to reshape the game? We'd love to hear your thoughts.